SBRForum's Inside the Lines is brought to you by Ladbrokes.
Previewing Week 16 in the NFL here at SBRForum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We're talking right now with returning guest Stephen O, NFL handicapper from AccuScore.com. Stephen O, thanks for being back with us this week.
Thank you for having me again.
All right, so your first loss in about 2 months or whatever it is, 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and the Steelers are my least favorite team just as a fan, so they did it to me twice.
Very close, though. You know, if it wasn't for the interception in overtime, maybe you would have gotten it. But all right.
We'll talk about it the next game, but that's a big point.
All right. The main game that you like this week is Chicago-Arizona. Now, Arizona, of course, is off of the huge Detroit win, but that had a lot to do with defense and special teams. You know, Ryan Lindley still looked lost at quarterback, and, you know, they ran the ball a little bit better than normal, but still not a very good running game in general. Chicago's off the loss to Green Bay, and, you know, they have a lot to recommend them, but they also are still banged up. And, you know, Jay Cutler, you know, who knows what's going to be up with him. They're a 5 or 5.5 point road favorite here. What side do you like?
Yeah, I like the Bears, and I am going to kind of basically chalk up Week 15 as an aberrant performance by Arizona, even though they've been great pass defensive and forcing turnovers all year. The fact is, you know, before last week, Arizona is a team that, you know, averages around 14, 15 points. And the Bears' last 4 games have played teams that are all in the playoffs at the moment, and they've held those teams below their season average each of those weeks, even though 3 games were losses. And so I really think that Arizona, in a kind of normal situation, as long as Chicago doesn't turn it over too many times, is poised for no more than 13 points. So the question is, can Chicago score 19 or more? And I'm not sure if the offense can, but the offense, combined with the defense capitalizing on Lindley mistakes, I think is good for 19 or more. In our simulations, they score 20 or more at a 58% rate. So I think that there is a good chance of a costly turnover by Lindley, combined with Jay Cutler not throwing too many interceptions. It's interesting this year, he's averaging 1.3, 1.4 interceptions. I forget the exact number in NFC North games, but under 0.9 when he plays a non-NFC North team. So maybe the familiarity of the NFC North hurts Jay, but maybe in this situation he'll be able to, limit it.
I'm telling you, man, taking Jay Cutler as a road favorite of more than a field goal is always a very, iffy, dicey thing to do, right?
Yes, it really is. But, I think that Arizona, I saw most of that Detroit game. I was, kind of fascinated by it for some reason. And for Arizona, but I've also seen them, a lot of times this year, and they just look so awful. Yeah. And the St. Louis game that Lindley started really sticks out in my mind as just one of the most terrible performances. So
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he had great protection in the Detroit game and still couldn't get anything done. So it's like, if that happens again, he'll probably still have a bad game. And if he gets pressured, oh God, then it's going to be a disaster.
I mean, maybe and the funny thing, I was thinking maybe he'll make money for Tyrann Mathieu, because Janoris Jenkins, a guy who had problems in college and then second-round draft pick, talent, and, killed Lindley, and Jenkins looked like a star. So maybe everyone's like, hey, we'll go help Tyrann Mathieu in this situation.
All right. Thought. If you recommend Chicago as a 5 or 5.5 point road favorite, then, I'm agreeing with you. Thanks. Great preview, Steve.